Mr. Michael Lohan on the phone. Michael, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Life is a roller coaster for you. Is that safe to say?
Yeah, it's pretty safe to say it's got its ups and downs at times in the past, but it's getting better and better.
Well, that's good. And so we're talking today about Celebrity Rehab. Premieres Sunday on VH1, and you were on this season. Was this a tough decision to decide to be on the show? Was it tough to want help and then also tough to want to do it in the public eye, or was it a no-brainer for you?
Well, no, it was tough. It was not a tough decision to get the help, but it was a tough decision to actually have everything that, my issues aired on, to the whole world, so to speak. But there's only one way to really get therapy with Dr. Drew and his team, and that's to be on the show. I mean, he can't do it in the private sector, so you have to do it on the show, and you have no choice.
Yeah.
And I think for most people, if they did it, if I can speak for myself, even if it wasn't for the pay, I would have done it because you can. What I've gotten out of this show, or out of being with Dr. Drew and his team, is invaluable. I would have never looked at the things in my life, and any other program in the past, I didn't look at them. But if it wasn't for him and his team, I wouldn't be where I am today.
So you've been through other rehabs, and what you're saying is what Dr. Drew does is different and better than all the other rehabs you've been to? Yeah,
well, think about it. All other rehabs, or most other rehabs you go to, it's more about therapy, and the people that run the rehabs for you aren't medical doctors. They don't look at the medical or the biological perspective of it as well as the psychological one. Dr. Drew is one of the most knowledgeable people I've ever met in my life. You can hear it on his shows. You can see him on his radio show, on his talk show, and even on Celebrity Rehab. This man he's ingrained in it. He knows every aspect of addiction, and he makes you get to the core of your problems. Other places don't go there. They don't really dig that deep. It's all about, okay, the 12 steps and this and that, and okay, it's a tune-up facility, so let's get you better, let's get you clean, and then we'll put you out and we'll put you into AA.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't work that way. It doesn't. As a matter of fact, when you get out of this program, you sign a contract where they give you aftercare for 3 months. And you're in aftercare, so it's not just, okay, you're doing a show and it's over. It's a lot. They're there to get you better.
Is it? I know that one of the big things last year was the Tiger Woods lady was on the show, and a lot of people were disappointed with the fact that she didn't talk a lot about Tiger Woods, which is obviously the only reason anybody wanted to see her on that show. Is there any issue this season with you talking about Lindsay? Do they try to pressure you into that? Do you talk about her at all?
Never. And see that. Listen, that. It wasn't, Lindsay wasn't my issue. It was my relationship with Dina and the things I did in my own life as a result of that were the issue. I mean, I had to hold myself accountable for, we all have a choice in life. And based on those choices, it's going to determine which path you take. Sure, we're all going to wind up in that place that we're supposed to be at the end. God already knows where we're going to be, but it's how we get there that matters.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
I was going to say, you're on the show now for alcoholism, is that correct?
No, for codependency, and not alcohol or drugs. Codependency is a major factor in a lot of people's lives. See, when you're clean and sober, you tend to gravitate toward people that aren't clean and sober so you live vicariously through them.
Yeah. So
my problem was I got involved with the relationships with people that had problems so I could fix them, and I could help them, and I could live through them. Instead of staying, people, places, and things are a big part of our life when we're leading a life in recovery. You have to stay away from all the negatives. And when you're with someone who's an addict or has some kind of a problem, you're just feeding into it, aren't you? Instead of doing that now, Dr. Drew helped me realize that, you know what, you can't be involved in those situations. If someone's better and they're clean and sober, fine, you can be involved. But if you're trying to get them better, it's only going to hurt you more. You're going to lose sight of your own recovery. But now I work with drug and alcohol programs, and that's my aftercare. That's my codependency. I work with people that have problems in a controlled setting, not in a relationship.
I see. Do you think that there's any correlation between, do you think, you've been through rehab, like you said, Dr. Drew's kind of an expert on this stuff. Do you think that addiction is something that can be not necessarily hereditary, but if you had an issue with addiction, do you think that makes it more reasonable to think that Lindsay Lohan is addicted to things because you were as her father? Do you think there's any correlation, or is that just coincidence?
Well, let me give you something I got out of the show. Is it hereditary? You just said you don't think it's it is hereditary, and there is a predisposition in our lives. Let me put it this way. If you look around you right now, or at people in your life, or people that you're friends with, or even in the studio, and I guarantee you 9 out of 10, if not 10 out of 10 people sitting around you has someone in their life that has an addiction problem. I don't care if it's drinking, drugs, sex, overeating, gambling, whatever, codependency. Everyone has a problem. Everyone has some kind of addiction. But the difference is this. You can have two parents that are an alcoholic and an addict. And if they have 4 kids, why is it that only 1 or 2 of the kids are affected by some kind of addiction? It's because there's a traumatic experience in their lives that will flip the switch, and that predisposition becomes active. Some people don't have that one traumatic experience.
So they've got, the switch is there. It's just something needs to happen to flip that switch.
Exactly, and that's what Dr. Drew made me realize, and I never knew what it came from. I thought it was from the divorce and this and that, other things. It wasn't that. It wasn't from me going to prison for the insider trading. Well, it was contempt because I wouldn't tell, but it came from insider trading case. But it was because it went way back to my childhood. And my father, who was a great man, and I admired him, but I was the oldest, and he was my coach in everything I did, but he made an example of me in everything I did. Mm-hmm. He didn't want to show favoritism, and it really beat the crap out of me psychologically.
Well, hopefully we'll learn more about it on this season of Celebrity Rehab, premiering Sunday on VH1 at 7 o'clock here in Billings. Michael Lohan, always fun to have you on the show. We appreciate you being a good sport and being a part of the show this morning, man. So good luck with everything.
Thanks, guys.
See you,
What
Mike.
you see is what you get.
All right, bye-bye, man.
Bye-bye.
The Big J Show. Weekday mornings from 6 till 10 on Billings' #1 hit music station, Hot 101.9.